Welcome! Got a couple of mail openings in the record genre to do today. Here's a couple of mailers, and both of these are from acts that until recently I was totally unfamiliar with. One in particular, the other one, the one I'll show you second, I had heard of that particular artist before, but I've never collected any albums or anything by either of these artists. And this stems from one of my hours-long looks on Bandcamp. I thought, you know what, I'm going to search some of my favourite musical genres on Bandcamp, as I do from time to time, see if there's anything on vinyl that takes my fancy. And a couple of things did, although the second thing that I'll show you wasn't actually from Bandcamp, but I'll explain that in a bit. This, however, was from a Bandcamp record label that I'd never heard of until recently. It's called Aztec Records. I believe they're based in London. I think this cost, including postage, around £20. It's not taken too long to come, a couple of weeks since I ordered it, but it's come direct from the record label. And when I discovered this act on Bandcamp recently, and I saw that their debut album, I believe this is, was available on vinyl, I had to have it. It's come in one of these sorters with all the additional protective flaps. We've got a nice glossy flyer here. Can't really read it, but looks like there's a lot of advertising of various albums and stuff that they've put out on the back. That's nice, that. And here is the album itself. It's been separated out from the main jacket, the main sleeve. Just take it out of the protective sleeve. Seems a fairly good quality one, that. I'll also close my knife up because safety first, etc. And now I'll show you the album itself on Aztec Records. This is an album by Bunny X, and this is Young and in Love.
Every time we meet, when I look into your eyes, it's a perfect paradise. Paradise. Every time we meet, when I look into your eyes, it's a perfect paradise. Paradise.
So I'd never heard of this act. It's a female vocal duo out of New York. I think the names are Mary and Abigail. And as you can hear, this is certainly in the synthwave genre. I think I actually discovered this act when I was looking up Italo Disco. So they've got some certain Italo Disco elements to their music. And I streamed a couple of their tracks, as I tend to do when I'm finding new artists on Bandcamp, and I thought, yeah, these are right up my street. So fantastic stuff from Bunny X. As you know, I love synthwave. Time Slaves Recordings out of Wales, they're usually the kind of go-to record label for me when I want to buy synthwave stuff, and I always get emails updating me about new releases at Time Slaves, and I've made sure I've followed Aztec Records in a similar vein, so that I get updates on any potential new releases. There is other acts. In fact, I think the guy who runs the label, Aztec, I think he's an artist on his own label, and I listen to some of his stuff. I may end up purchasing an album from him soon. That'll be a video for another day. Really nice kind of anime manga style sleeve there. Unsurprisingly, this is going to be a very special vinyl record. Oh, that's really nice. To say pink isn't one of my favourite colours, I always think pink records, and I don't have that many of them, look really good. I think they class it as robot pink, whatever that means. There again, it kind of looks lighter on the side that I'm holding towards you than it does on this side that you can't see, but that'll be due to light and stuff like that, but really nice. So Bunny X, Young and in Love. This is their debut album, I believe. I think they'd released kind of a few digital singles and maybe an EP or two prior to this first full-length album of theirs coming out. I don't think this has been out too long either. I think when I was looking it up on the Discogs database, I think it said February 2022. So this album, I think, is only a couple of months old. But I'm absolutely made up to add some more synthwave and a new act into my collection. And with Italo Disco influences as well. I mean, that's just an added bonus. Italo Disco, for those who aren't familiar with the genre, It's something that became very big in the early to mid 80s, certainly in Europe. Didn't really do massively over here, but it sort of transcended into high energy towards more the late 80s, and then started getting certain European artists having kind of summer holiday type hits over here. I'm thinking of acts from the late 80s like Spania and Sabrina, that kind of thing. And Stock Aitken Waterman, although some of their stuff is hit and miss for me, they were certainly high energy pioneers in the 80s as well. But it all stems from Italo disco, and for a synthwave album to have certain Italo elements, that is absolutely fantastic to me. So Bunny X there, Young and in Love. Can't wait to listen to that in full on Robot Pink vinyl, no less. Okay, so we stick with synthwave, and this is an album, again, I found it on Bandcamp. However, I didn't buy it on Bandcamp, I bought it on Amazon. For the simple reason, the artist had linked to the Amazon listing on his Bandcamp page, and I think this was sent directly, although it was an Amazon transaction. His record label was classed as the third-party seller, so I suppose rather than Bandcamp getting a cut, it's Amazon who are getting a cut. I don't really know, but it was actually a little bit cheaper on Amazon than it was on Bandcamp. This was probably at least £3 or £4 cheaper on Amazon, simply because as a Prime member I got free postage, and this was only £15, and I think that for a brand new record is always a good price. Now this act, I've not got any albums or singles or anything by this artist as such, but I believe, if my memory is correct, he does feature on some older synthwave albums that I own in my collection, but as like a featured artist. I'm sure this isn't his first album, it could be like his third or fourth possibly, but this album here today is by an act called Lost Outrider, and it's called Blush. Nice. So Lost Outrider, I think British-based synthwave artist, and the name rang a bell to me when I found this guy, and I think he's collaborated with a couple of artists, a couple of synthwave acts that are in my collection. I think Future Cop, he features on an album of theirs, and I think Time Cop 1983 as well. Unusual to get kind of a real sort of almost DIY indie album on Amazon, but as I say, the artist Lost Outrider, he put the Amazon link on his Bandcamp page. Doesn't seem to be any hype sticker here. I think I'm just gonna tear into this cellophane. Seems a little bit loose. I may start it off with the tweezers here just to get it open, but I'm not too worried about saving this cellophane. There's no hype sticker on it, and I'll be putting this into one of my protective outer sleeves anyway. As I did with Bunny X and any other artists I discover on Bandcamp, I'll stream 2 or 3 of the tracks, have a listen, decide if I really like the music, and then if they've got something physical for sale, I'll have a punt. As you can see, it's a plain white inner sleeve. Let's check this disc out. Ooh, lovely. Green with black spatter. Kind of waving this around, hoping that you'll be able to see the effect that I can see. There we are. Lost Outrider's music sounds great. I think he's been going for a few years now. He's not a sort of newer act like Bunny X are. Trying to remember what his record label's called. I'll have put it up on the screen when I was playing the tracks anyway, so it doesn't matter. Delighted to get this. It's a 10-track album, and it's more synthwave for the collection. I think this is more kind of, as I would understand it, pure synthwave, or retro wave, whatever you want to call it, rather than Bunny X, which has synthwave mixed with kind of Italo and high energy, really. You know, I love the genre. and when I get these sort of more unknown artists, I always like to play a little bit of the music for you as well, so that you can listen for yourselves and decide whether you want to help support some of these little boutique labels and smaller artists. 2 great synthwave albums added to the collection today. Blush by Lost Outrider from Amazon and from Bandcamp. We started out with Young and in Love by the delectable duo Bunny X. Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed this look at 2 new albums from 2 artists I've not collected in before. Some really excellent music to be heard in these albums. I say it every time I do a Bandcamp related video. Please go and have a look on Bandcamp. Just listen to the stuff. It's all free. I don't even think you need to register on there to be able to listen to what people are putting out there. And yeah, the majority of the music is digital, but if you're into collecting physical formats and you watch this channel, you know that I love a physical music format. There is a lot to choose from, really. In relation to Bunny X and Aztec Records, I think that's going to be a label I'm going to be dipping into at least a few more times, because some of the other stuff from that roster I was listening to recently sounds absolutely amazing. I want to say special thanks to all of my wonderful subscribers and generous, gorgeous patrons. Please see my Patreon link and my Facebook group link down in the description text box. There's also a link for contents insurance. Nice. I'm going to go now, and I'll pose the age-old question, which should I listen to first? Blush from 2020, I think, if I remember right. Excellent artist, Lost Outrider. I think one of the more higher profile people in the synthwave genre, even though it's a very niche genre. And then relative newcomers to the field, an absolutely outstanding debut album, Bunny X. Let me know which you'd listen to first, and please join me again next time for my next synthwave and record collecting video. Cheers everyone. See ya!